Hello and welcome to Pandora Astrology's monthly horoscope for Pisces. I'm Julian Mikas.
And I'm Jamie Kale Miller. Well, hey, Pisces. So much to say about career and relationships this month, and they kind of fit together. So I'm going to cover them together. Now, you may know, and you've probably, if you've watched these horoscopes before, you would hear us mentioning that Saturn has been traveling through your first house already since last year. So you're in a phase, and it's like a 2.5 year phase where your identity may feel very much tied up with career, very focused on career. That may be a big focus, and you may feel like your reputation is very much at stake. So that's kind of going on in the background of your mind, you might say. And yet there's a fabulous grouping of planets in your fourth house this month, and that is the house of home and family, domestic life, heritage, and roots. And so that's going to be pulling a lot of your attention away from career or conflicting with career as your attention is pulled to home and family. You may find yourself working from home and balancing home versus work a lot during this, especially in the first half of the month, while there's so much activity in your fourth house. Saturn is going to go retrograde at the end of the month on June 29th, and that is going to trigger a months long period of career soul searching and thinking back to the past of your career or the past of your business. And so you may feel a little bit like things are going backwards, or there's lots of retrospection going on relative to your career, starting in the end of June and then going through several months beyond that. So the new moon, to go into some of these planets that are happening in your fourth house, because really the relationship arena is mostly this month about family. It's mostly about the relationships that you have at home with family members or through extended family that you don't live with, but still, they're family. Beginning with the new moon happening on June 6th, that's going to pull you inward. It is happening in your fourth house, and when the moon lands in the fourth house, it's intensified and strengthened by that. New moons are new beginnings. So this is going to trigger a month-long cycle of you wanting to enhance and beautify and develop your home life and make it nicer and more cozy and enhance relationships with family members. It's going to pull you into like a self-care month, essentially. And that need to take care of yourself is really important, and it feels gratifying when you do, but the frustration with career is going to nag and form a counterpoise to that more inward home stuff. So Jupiter has newly arrived in your fourth house, and I mentioned this last month that this was coming. It's going to be terrific because Jupiter loves to be in the fourth house. Jupiter in the fourth house is like the very vision of a large, loving, rambunctious family where you can just be yourself, you can relax, you can be playful, and you can joke and be silly, and you're in your nest with your peeps, and there's a wonderful feeling of belonging associated with it. Now, you don't have to come from a family like that or even be creating a family like that in order to enjoy very thoroughly the feeling of Jupiter passing along your fourth house, which is going to last about a year starting last month. So it's a great time to grow in your home life, to expand in your home life, to maybe move to a place that suits you better and enjoy family members both near and far, especially when supported by other planets that are in your fourth house this month, such as Venus and Mercury and that new moon that I already told you about. So Venus is already in this house when Mercury joins on June 3rd. Mercury will enhance the family focus and really make your home a social hub. So in the beginning of the month, like in the first week, would be a terrific time to have some kind of party, to host some kind of family event at your home or attend a family event. And it's likely to be enjoyable and really enhance your connections with family members and just build on those relationships in a good way. There's a wonderful day called the Relationship Rapture Day happening on June 4th when Venus and the Sun connect while Venus is direct and fast. And that really helps relationships to improve, grow, and move forward. So if you've been having any trouble with family members or your spouse or any trouble on the home front, that could be the time when everything just gets a lot sweeter. The last thing I want to say about relationships is that The full moon coming towards the end of the month is going to sit on your 5th and 11th house axis, the 5th house being a house of self, and it's a house of romance and fun, light relationships. And then the 11th house opposite to it, which is the house of friendship and community and groups. So because it's a full moon and you're being tugged in two different directions, you may feel some form of crisis between, do I go and hang out with friends in groups, or do I, go on a hot date with this new sweetie that I have started to see? Or you might also feel yourself, if that's not, where you're at in life and you have a solid relationship and you're not in a dating mode, this moon could be really, really good for dating. But if you're not in a dating mode, you may find that there's a conflict between the need to be yourself and the need to be part of a group and feel that sense of belonging. Hey, Julia, what's up with finance for the Pisces out there?
Well, Pisces, one thing to keep remembering when it comes to your finance is Chiron has been traveling through your second house of money. And this has been happening over a 7-year period. Chiron is the wounded healer. So this may be a time period where a lot of old wounds have been coming up around money. Stuff that might be coming from your past, from your childhood even, how you handle your finances, and more importantly, how you see your self-worth in relation to your finances. So try not to let this cycle throw you. And the best thing you can do, especially with Chiron, is to try to be honest with be honest with yourself. Now, with Chiron in the second house, I really advise you to avoid conflicts about money that might trigger you, especially stuff that reminds you of your childhood or early life. And you can just look at your situation in the face and let yourself heal, go forward and do better in the future, for example. Just leave the past behind if you can. And if you find that you've already been healing and learning a lot about money in the past 4 or 5 years, then this is the time where you can reach into that higher Chiron and become the healer to somebody else towards money. Wherever we have Chiron, not only we experience the wounds, but we can also become the healer of those wounds to ourselves and other people. So, what they also say is when you teach, you learn twice. So this is a really great reminder to see if you can help out somebody else, and that will really help you in your own Chiron journey. When you heal someone, you also heal yourself as well.
Find our site at pandoraastrology.com to get a reading with one of us, and find us on Patreon for workshops and classes. And we'll see you around the cosmos.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.